Rosa. We are here. This is day 2 in the media room for the 2025 BET Awards. And joining me first up today is Mr. DeVon Franklin.
Yo, hey.
We were talking about how crazy it normally gets on the second day. This is you giving me a warning because this is my first time doing it as like an actual sit doing the interviews and stuff. So basically, my wig about to be snatched today.
Oh, if you're wearing a wig, it might be snatched.
This is mine.
I was like, mine. Okay,
But it's gonna get crazy.
It's gonna get crazy.
So what are you? This year, the BET Awards are celebrating the 25 years of 106 and Park.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conversation about like the nostalgia of the award shows, and you told me that you were here the year before. But coming every year to the BET Awards means what to you?
It means accomplishment on some level, right? When you see the accomplishments of us as a people and how BET celebrates that.
Yes.
Every time I'm here, it just reminds me of how dynamic and creative and amazing we are.
Yes.
And it's really cool to be here this year in the capacity of the star, one of the stars of Tyler Perry's new show, which is just unbelievable. If you would have told me years ago that I'd be acting and be one of the stars of a show that Tyler Perry would write, produce, and direct, I'd say you're absolutely lying. Like, it would not happen. But here we are.
Why you say why is it so hard for you to believe? Just because you are normally on the other side of things?
Yes, because I've dedicated most of my entertainment career to producing and being behind the camera and telling inspirational stories. And I started acting when I was in middle school and high school, but I never thought about it doing it professionally.
Right.
So this opportunity that Tyler, allowed me to have, it surprised me because I was like, wow, I didn't realize that there was this gift that I have, and to be able to explore it through the show Divorce Sisters and 16 one-hour episodes and being able to navigate the twists and turns of the character. Yeah. It was an awesome challenge that I'm grateful that I had.
Did Tyler Perry hit you and be like, hey, I think you should come on the other side of the camera? Like, how did that happen?
Well, so Tyler and I have a partnership.
Yes.
We make faith-based movies for Netflix. And I've known Tyler. We've been friends for 15 years. And long story short, we had talked about it, but then I was prepping a movie at the time.
Got you.
And I didn't think it was going to work. And then my team was like, nah, you should just hit him up. So I just hit him back. I said, man, look, if you were interested, like, let's talk about it. And so he said, man, I'd love for you to consider it. He sent me the scripts. I read the scripts. And I said, yeah, man, if you want to do this, I'll do it. He's like, great, let's do it. And he said, man, I promise you, I'll get you there. And he did. He created such an environment on set where I could be comfortable. If he didn't like my performance, he told me about it. He's like, that ain't real.
Really?
Nah.
How is Tyler Perry? Because I know you have the partnership and y'all are doing a lot of Netflix.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. But how is Tyler Perry as a boss on the talent side?
On the talent side, he was incredible, and he knew what he wanted.
Got you.
And there's nothing better when you work with a director that knows what they want and can communicate that to actors and the crew and everyone. Because sometimes in making a movie or making a television show, that's not always the case.
Right.
And when the director does not know what they want, it makes it that much more challenging for everybody. So he knew what he wanted. He was very clear, but he also had fun. I mean, he was always joking and laughing, and because he wrote the script. There'd be sometimes we're in scene and he's like changing the lines. He's like, no, say this and say that and say this. So it was really, I think, for every cast member on that show, we all grew immensely.
Yes.
Because it's daunting to do 16 one-hour episodes in 2 weeks.
I bet.
And at times we doubted ourselves. We didn't know if we could do it. But then to get to the other side of it and for it to come out so well, it proved to us, and I think for anyone, listening, like, you don't know what you can do until you're challenged. You don't know what's in you until you face a challenge.
Yeah.
And sometimes we resist the challenge, but the challenge is where the transformation is. That's where the blessing is. That's where the growth is. So did I know if I could do it? I didn't. Was I scared? Absolutely. But I'm so glad I did it anyway.
Yes.
And to see that it came out well and the performance is good and he's happy and those that have seen it the first episode so far are happy. So I'm happy.
You said you guys did all of your 6 episodes in 2 weeks?
16 episodes.
16.
16. 1-6 in 2 weeks. Yes.
16 in 2 weeks. So we just had a conversation with Taraji, and she was talking about shooting Straw, and she said she did it in 4 days. Sherry Shepherd said she did her part in Straw in 6 days. 2 weeks, 16 episodes.
Yes.
The tight timelines, it seems like it's very efficient business-wise, and it seems like it's a thing that Tyler Perry leans in on. But how crazy is that for you, coming from a world of like, what I mean? You set schedules a lot differently. You're dealing with like deals with networks and all these things.
Oh man, it was different. and I really had to just surrender to the process. I had to surrender to the schedule. There were some days that, we'd have 100 days on the call sheet, 100 pages on the call sheet, excuse me. And, I would, in some days I'd have 66 pages that I had to shoot. And you just tap into your resiliency. And and the good news is that we had such a great cast that became like a family, and we all were in it together. So we would help each other. My wife is played by Latoya Luckett in the show. She plays the character Rashida. Yeah, I love her. She's amazing. And that's my sister. I've known her. We've been friends forever. So to be able to work together really helped. So there was a support system to be able to navigate the daunting schedule. And again, when you see the show, the quality is amazing. The acting's amazing. The way it looks, all of it. I believe people are going to be pleasantly surprised. And this show, I believe, will be people's new favorite show.
What is working with Tyler Perry on the business side of it taught you about yourself?
Oh my goodness,
business? Because you've been doing it for a while.
Yes, but and this is a blessing. It's like people don't realize. I don't think people understand Tyler from the outside, but they don't really understand sometimes the magnitude of what he does.
Right.
I don't know anyone else of his stature that has said to another black producer, "Hey, let's partner up as two black men in Hollywood. Let's go do something that's about business, but it's also about touching people's lives." So when, I was in a conversation with Netflix, and then Tyler called me and said, "Let's do it together." And I said, "Yeah, let's do that." And to be partnered with him, what it's taught me is, one, to be even more entrepreneurial. I went to college at the University of Southern California. I majored in business. I minored in film, and I had an emphasis in entrepreneurship. But working with Tyler has taken my entrepreneurial spirit to another level.
Wow.
Really the idea of doing things that I don't even think can be done in a time frame. Like, he challenges me on the movies that I'm doing. Hey, you can do that faster. You can do that better. DeVon, this is your film. You got this. Like, he's so supportive. And he gives me access to his entire studio in Atlanta.
Wow.
His executives, the stages. So the partnership is phenomenal. And for him to already be so successful and choose to say, "Hey, you know what? I want to partner with you, and then let's become even more successful together in these faith-based movies." It's been a blessing.
Because I was going to ask you, how did he, when he called you, how did he know that you were already talking to Netflix? Is it
because Tyler is, he tapped in.
No, I'll see y'all.
Tyler tapped in. Okay, Tyler's tapped in. I was surprised. I said, "Wait, you got my phone tapped? How'd you know I was in a conversation with Netflix?" And so, he knew what was going on, and he got wind of me having this conversation at Netflix, and then he was like, "Nah, let's do this together." And I say, absolutely.
Were the conversations you were having with Netflix, was it a different type of conversation once Tyler Perry got involved?
Without a doubt.
The goalpost?
It was totally different. Once Tyler got involved, it's a deal that gives us a lot of creative control. It's a deal that gives me the power and the freedom to find the stories that I want to tell and put those stories out. The first movie that we are doing together, about 2 years ago, I started preaching a sermon series on Ruth and Boaz.
Yes.
And I thought, like, oh my goodness, this would make for a great movie. We've never seen a modern adaptation, at least a modern, diverse adaptation of a Bible story.
Right.
And so that's what we did. We produced a modern, diverse adaptation of the story of Ruth and Boaz. It stars Tyler Lepley and Soraya McNeil and Felicia Rashad. And it's amazing. And the movie comes out on Netflix this year. So that's the first one. And then we have a number of others that I can't speak on yet. But trust me, they're going to be great.
I don't think people understand, because I know, like, people love to have the conversation about Tyler Perry and what they feel like he should be doing. But I don't think people really understand what he is actually doing, because to have a multi-year first look deal with a Netflix that you said it was a lot easier of a conversation because he came in and got involved, and he didn't have to.
He didn't have to.
I don't think people really get the gist of that because they don't work within the industry.
They don't, and I think that, it's very easy for somebody on the outside to tell someone what they should do.
Right.
But what I love about Tyler is he's very committed and clear on what he's called to do.
Yeah.
There's a difference between what you're called to do and what people think you should do.
Right.
And so for him to do what he feels called to do, the content he feels called to produce, the stories he feels called to write and direct, and to be able to have a partnership where we can, make movies that are uplifting and inspirational and life affirming is a blessing. And again, to your point, like, it didn't have to happen. I mean, he didn't need to partner. He didn't really. He really didn't. I mean, he's obviously a mega mogul on his own, but to do it and to also, help me and say, hey, I see you doing great things, but man, if we partnered up, man,
it would be bigger.
We're gonna take it to another level.
Yes.
So I'm like, yes, thank you. And that's also why, like, even in what world does someone say, okay, you know what, we're gonna partner as producers,
right?
And I'm also gonna make you one of the stars of my new show. It doesn't happen.
And I heard that the checks is crazy.
Oh,
hey. You don't got to tell me the exact number.
Listen, Tyler is as much about the creative as he is the business, and he makes sure that anyone that works with him is well taken care of. That's what I'll say about that.
Well, you know, when you're talent, you're on screen, where they start you off at number-wise, you know this because you're an executive too.
Yeah.
You're able to fill these offers. So now we filled in the 7-figure space?
Hold on. We're not getting into all that. All I'm saying is, listen, y'all go watch the show. Divorce Sisters. Go watch Divorce Sisters.
But you also, too, I mean, you do so much, right? Like, there's so much that you have going on, but you still find time for, like, personal life. You still find time for your actual faith. Like, what's the mantra that you're chanting every morning? You're here. You're one of the first talent here this morning. You're on time.
Right. You know what? I wouldn't say that there's a mantra. So years ago, right, I approached it like mantra and affirmation.
Okay.
And then the challenge is that a lot of times when you're saying something that you don't believe you are,
right,
you only amplify what you're not instead of actually becoming who you believe you are. So instead of doing mantras and affirmations, what I started to practice is feeling and being the mantra, being the affirmation. So to be able to do all the things that I do, it's really about I am feeling the fullness of me. Mm-hmm. And I'm enjoying that person. Yes. And I understand that I don't know everything about that person.
Yes.
So every day I'm open to explore, and I'm curious about me and where God may have me and what may happen. And so just being present is the way to do it. It's the presence in the moment, and the curiosity allows me to, I may over here, writing a book over here, and then over here, acting in a series, and over here acting in a movie, and over here producing. But it's all comes from a centered place.
Yes.
And it's all related, right? Everything I do in media is about inspiring the person watching.
Right.
So whether you see the show, whether when you see the show, you watch the movie, you read the book, you see a sermon, wherever, see me on social media. It's always about how that person is inspired, motivated, informed in some way. So I try to keep as much purpose in everything I do as possible.
And then you're also too, like, I feel like I saw the People exclusive that you did. Congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. But I saw the People exclusive that you did when you guys got engaged, you and Maria. And I thought that what I thought was beautiful about it was when you talk about, even in love, you talk about faith. Still.
Yes, absolutely.
You talk about the things that you're talking about, consistency. You talk about, how she shows up in your life, so you want to make sure you give it, like, reciprocating the energy, right? Which a lot of people look for in every part of their life.
Yeah.
But a lot of people can't show up in multiple facets of their life that way.
Yes.
So when I saw the article, I'm like, it's so fire that you're able to do that in business, but also personal life as well, too. Because sometimes something lacks.
Right. Well, I think it goes back to, being present, and being loving, right?
Yes.
Like that's, the greatest scripture is, love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and then love your neighbor as yourself, And for me, learning to love me and what that meant. And then being okay with where I'm at whenever I'm at. I think that allows me to open my heart. Maria and I, getting married, I'm excited about that. Being able to do this show, I'm excited about that. So it all really comes back from love. To love. If I didn't love me, if I didn't love what I'm doing, if I didn't love, none of this would be possible.
Have you guys had a date for the wedding yet?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You almost didn't want to tell me, and
but I ain't saying when. I just say That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Y'all ain't getting that exclusive. Y'all gonna say, You gotta just stay tuned.
You know you a friend of the show.
So we just gonna pop out, and y'all gonna be like, oh, it happened.
The engagement was kind of like that. You just popped
That's
out,
right,
and it was beautiful.
And that's how the wedding's gonna be. We just gonna pop out, like, it happened.
I was gonna ask, is there a little bit more of a hesitation this time around with the engagement to keep things a little bit more like safe, chest guarded, or? Because you're still very loud and vocal about love, as you should be, but it is a bit more safe.
Yeah. I wouldn't say, there's any sort of trepidation or anything like that. I think it's like, because if you do that, then you allow your past hurt to actually affect your life, your future life, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really about identifying what is the best, most loving way to present our love to the world. And, talking about the engagement and putting out that video, that felt very loving and felt very authentic to who we are and where we are. And, I don't have the luxury of saying, oh, my private. Everybody gonna find out, right?
You are who you are.
I am who I am.
Which is very when do you? Because that's a new space for me, and the reason why I asked you that is because I think people still have so much conversation about you and your engagement to Megan Good, because she's also a celebrity as well too.
Sure.
But you're in a whole new space in life.
Yeah.
So it's like just how navigating that mentally, because you do have a new partner who you want her to feel like the conversation's about her.
Yes.
That has to be tough too.
Well, sure, but part of it is just we create a safe space for each other and for our relationship, and we protect that.
Yes.
Maria and I protect that. We nurture that. We nurture each other. So as we move in the world, we move in the world consistent with how we move at home, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So that's really what's important. It's not about coming out here and giving a presentation. It's not about really even trying to craft a public persona as a couple. It's not about that.
Yes.
It's about just being honest and truthful and sharing when we feel led to share, and then not sharing.
Right.
I mean, we share a little bit, but there's so much we don't share, not out of fear, but it's just not needed.
Yes.
So it's really about using discretion. And to me, where it can become a slippery slope is when the intent is, let me use this relationship for fill in the gap.
Yeah.
Fill in the gap. Right. For me, my relationship, or my, engagement is about love.
Yes.
I needed to be loved. I'm so grateful to have someone who loves me and that I can love. And that's what it's about.
Yes.
And we will be mindful on how we share that love and how we express it, but we're not going to hide it.
Yes.
We're too excited about it.
Yes.
God brought it to us. So we want to share that light. We want to, but we're also still be very mindful of how we do it.
I know we're rapping, but one of the things that I like about you, or as I've learned to from your last book and just learned who you are a bit, is you're very vocal about just being honest in different situations of things aren't perfect. We're learning. I feel like I don't know if you do it on purpose, but it's almost like your relationship, your life and business, all the things, it's almost like self-help a little bit. As I'm watching you navigate, I'm learning how to maneuver different ways, and it's not always perfect.
No.
And I because, a lot of faith-based people present so perfectly. And then it turns us off. When I'm watching it, I'm not learning.
It's like, that ain't real.
No, it's not real at all. But one of the things recently, switching gears, I saw the sit down that Megan Good did with Jason Lee, and she talked about you guys split, and that was also something that she hasn't really talked much about, but she said that. Well, she said the words that you left her, but she cleared it up, and she said that no one did anything wrong. That it was amicable, and it was one of those things. And it sounded like you guys learned in that it just wasn't meant. But when you saw that, if you saw it, how did that make you feel in response to what she said?
Yeah, I think that, again, it's like when it comes to love and love stories, we all get a chance to speak.
Yes.
And, I have something. I can't talk about it yet. We're going to announce it very soon.
You ain't I can't.
I'm here. I'm giving you Divorce Sisters. I'm giving you Divorce Sisters, okay?
We're going to watch it.
You got to watch it.
You
got to watch it. You got to watch it. And what I would say is, I'm glad that we have opportunities to express our truth and to be able to talk, about what we've gone through and unpack what we've gone through. And I look forward to being able to do that.
Oh, so there's something that you're going to do that within a series or something.
Just stay tuned.
Is she involved? Is Megan get involved?
No. What do you? I don't know what Megan's doing.
Oh no, because you said that in answer to the question, so I thought.
Yeah, okay. The answer to the question is, we get a chance to express and our points of view on how everything unfolded, and I just am excited about the right opportunity to be able to just express and speak my piece.
Okay, I'm gonna look out for that opportunity because I'm anxious to know. Well, thank you.
And this is the other thing. I think, sometimes it's like there are two people have an experience.
Yeah.
And they have a point of view and a feeling about that experience, and that's okay, right? That's okay. It's okay to have it. It's okay to express it. And it's okay to use that as part of the healing process to move forward.
But that's why we believe you, because you feel like that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't. I know they're wrapping us up.
Okay.
We got to get out of here. But thank you so much. And whatever that thing is, let us know.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. I'm coming back. Yes, I will.
Sisters. When is it?
It debuts June 9th, right after the BET Awards.
Yes.
And then it debuts on BET Plus on June 10th.
Okay.
And every week after June 10th, there will be an episode that drops on BET Plus.
Got you. Okay.
So you got to get BET Plus. I promise y'all, this show will be your new favorite show.
Okay.
It is the best show, and I'm not trying to have the other cast members that are on other Tyler shows to get mad at me, but I'm trying to tell y'all, this is the best show that Tyler Perry has done.
Because we locked into. We got the Oval. We got so many other ones that we
I'm telling you.
Okay. All right, y'all.
All those shows are great. This one is going to be the greatest.
Okay. Well, look. So we're going to tune in to BT Sisters on June 9th.
Yes.
But first, we're going to watch the BT Awards. June 9th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on BET. Mr. DeVon Franklin, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
And please come on back.
I will.
Some more to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Have a great day. Thank you.
You too.
Wake that ass up early in the morning. The Breakfast Club.